An electric ripper that looks like it could be e-bike regulation authorized, especially when you slap a Class 2 sticker from Amazon on the frame. But instead of 750 watts with a 20-mile-an-hour top speed,
this hub motor's 3,000 watts.
propelling a big body American to over 40 miles an hour. Suspension and brakes are no slouch either. There's a few aspects of this bike that I think could be better for the next version or iteration, which I'll cover in this review. But without further ado, let's see what the Mangosteen FT07, sounds like a motorcycle model, FZ07, MT07 from Yamaha. Let's see what this steel frame $1,600 beauty can do. Oh yeah, it's eating. Eating like Diane Keaton, all these bumps. You put it on a sidewall and pin it, it will spin out. Yeah, this thing's a torquey little devil. Pretty darn good, actually. Ooh, ooh. See if we can burn out on pavement. Ooh, free socks, nice. Yeah, that's pretty much right up to 12. This is a heavy bike too. As where before I had to kind of grab it with fistful of fingers.
Quick disclaimer to my audience, this bike was sent for review, but this is going to be an honest, comprehensive review. The company doesn't get an early preview, and the thoughts in this video are 100% my own. So if there's any cons, shortcomings, or areas of improvement, you're gonna hear about it. So these companies make better products over time. As for the buying process, unfortunately this bike is not sold at any third-party vendors such as Amazon. So you're gonna get this directly from the manufacturer's website. I do have a discount code in the description below. I believe that's good for $80 or $100. Click on it, you'll find out, but this does retail for $1,600, and it does come in 3 colors, all of which I think look really good. There's the black and red that I opted for. The black and orange looks really good, and then this is a very unique color that I think also looks really cool. It's kind of a gradient silver to purple. This bike was packaged incredibly well, and the assembly process was pretty seamless and straightforward, which is good because there is no instruction manual in the box. There is an assembly video from the manufacturer on their YouTube page, which I'll have linked in the description below so you can follow along as you assemble your bike, but it would be nice if there was a physical instruction manual in the box. Everything else that you would need, such as tools, are included. The charger is very similar to an e-moto, that it is rated for 5 amps, which is pretty standard in the e-bike / e-moto world. So with the 25 amp hour battery, that is a 5-hour charge time from dang near completely depleted. It is a very nice charger. It is metal bodied, has a replaceable fuse, a status light, and auto shutdown. Cosmetically, I think this is a very good looking bike. It is almost abnormally long wheelbase wise, but like I mentioned, all 3 colorways look really slick, and overall I think it's a good looking bike. As for comfort or ergonomics, the stock seat is very comfortable. It's basically like a Sur-Ron seat, has a good amount of padding, good amount of grip as well, so I don't really feel a need to upgrade. The only thing I might change down the road is some slightly higher rise bars, so I'm in more of an upright, less leaned over stance, but there's by no means any wrist or lower back fatigue when riding this bike. I found it very comfortable at 5'11". 2 NFC keys are included, although not necessary. By default, you just enter a passcode, which is, before you change it, 0000. The 2 physical keys are just to detach the battery, which isn't the majority of the weight of the bike, as this is steel frame, so you're not gonna save much weight transporting this thing. The only scenario you'd wanna actually remove the battery is if you're hot swapping it or taking just the battery into an apartment to charge. Hold down the power button for a few seconds to power on the display. Enter your passcode. Bike roars alive. You have a headlight switch, which is very satisfying to click. Also, you can physically move this up and down to tilt the angle of your headlight. Horn, which is decent. It's actually louder than some other bikes I've heard. That's nice. The bike turns on in mode 1, so the throttle's hot, it will start moving, but if you press minus, it puts it in neutral or 0. Now the throttle is dead. You do have 3 rider modes, not including neutral, that being eco, standard, and turbo, which I exclusively ride in. This is the odometer. There's currently 9 miles on this bike. The speed is in miles per hour by default, but can be switched into kilometers per hour. Brightness is very good, even in direct sunlight. You do have a quarter twist throttle, bad stock grips, but they're serviceable. I always wear gloves anyway, so grip isn't an issue, but if you're a bare-hander, which you should never ride without gloves, but if you are a bare-hander, these just don't feel the best. Some notes on these tires before I dirty them up with the initial ride. The tread pattern does look quite aggressive. As far as brand is concerned, they are. Now we'll come over here to this one. I am pumping them up, top them off, because the front was pretty much flat. The back was fine. Yang Jing, so they're not Bridgestones or anything like that, but they are DOT rated. They are nylon reinforced. They do have a maximum PSI of 40, so I'd recommend running 20. No lower than that since they don't have bead locks. They do have this little nut down here which keeps the tube from slipping around, but it's not like a separate drilled hole to keep your tube really in place. They're non-directional, so it doesn't matter which way you mount them. 17 front and rear, and they come with a weird slick grease on the side, so be careful with that. This does have front and rear suspension. You have a typical monoshock in the back, which is the bare minimum type of adjustability, which is just moving that cotter ring to stiffen or lighten the spring depending on the rider weight. It's perfectly sprung for my weight at 190 pounds, maybe just a pinch too stiff, but if you're a lighter rider, 160 or so, you're gonna wanna give it a couple of counterclockwise spins to loosen it up. As for the front fork, that also has compression adjustment, but no rebound. The forks were too soft, in my opinion, much too soft. The stiff rear shock and the soft rear forks give it kind of an unbalanced ride, but you don't notice that when you're just doing typical road riding, only when you start hitting some trails. This bike has some very impressive brakes. They didn't really need much bedding in. They had satisfactory bite right out of the gate, which is pretty surprising. They are 4-piston hydraulic disc brakes filled with DOT fluid, 220 millimeter rotors, and some red painted calipers. The only thing I don't like is that they are bicycle layout, not scooter/e-moto layout. So rear brake is on your throttle hand, which makes wheeling practically not possible. Powertrain, the motor and controller. The motor is a 3000 watt peak brushless hub motor that looks pretty darn big in that rear tire. Really smooth acceleration. You do get a little bit of a stutter or lag right off the line, as it does not have enough torque to pick up the front wheel under its own power. You pretty much have to do foot drags and pop it up. But once you're above like 3 to 5 miles an hour, it starts whooshing forward in a very smooth manner all the way up to a top speed of over 40 miles an hour. I hit 43. I think it could have gone up to 45 if I were to tuck down and had a longer road. Manufacturer claimed top speed is 45 miles an hour with this configuration, and I really don't doubt that. I didn't find any branding on the controller, but it is a 60 volt, 50 amp brushless BLC type, and it is mounted in a location that would make it very easy to swap out for an aftermarket model. Here's the stock, oh, you can't see. Here's the stock controller on the manufacturer's website if you ever needed to replace it. And if we zoom in here, it's a Ryukang intelligent brushless DC motor controller, phase angle 120 degrees, current, voltage, stats, specs. The battery is a 60 volt, 25 amp hour with a maximum of 50 miles of range. That is not going to be ripping on it. If you're ripping, you're probably going to get about 30 miles, although I have yet to completely deplete the battery, and I currently have 12 miles on the bike. The battery's only gone down 4 bars on the display, and in that regard, there's a pretty decent battery display on the screen. It has about 10 or 12 dots or bars, which isn't as good as a percentage, but it is better than the 4 bars you get on some cheaper e-bikes like the Ice and Wheel i10 I reviewed recently. The bike does come with a 1-year limited warranty covering parts, manufacturing defects, and this will get you free replacement items on any components that crap out on you. The only exclusions to that would be regular wear and tear items like tires, tubes, brake pads, or of course anything that was damaged by misuse. So as for the pros, cons, and verdict, I'm gonna get the cons out of the way because there really isn't that many of them. This is a very heavy bike for what it is, the power that it has, and the class of bike it is with pedals. It is 93 pounds, and you definitely feel that. The majority of the weight isn't the battery either, it's the actual frame, as it is steel frame, not aluminum, and that's my biggest complaint, is even if you take the battery out, it's not super portable, being able to throw this thing in the back of a car or load it into a carrier ramp, trailer hitch ramp. So it's durable, rugged frame, but it's heavy. That weight in combination with the stock tires, which are decent knobbies, do not give you the best handling characteristics. They're not confidence-inducing, flicking it around in corners or ripping down some trails, so you don't really see me pushing too hard in this video when I'm riding it, and that's because it feels kind of, not sketchy, that's not the word, it is stable, it just doesn't feel like some kind of handling on rails bike, and that's probably because of the weight and the stock tires. Quarter twist throttle should be a full twist throttle on a bike this aggressive and fast, and the brakes, I wish they were E-moto so you could wheelie it better. And you can't really swap them because there's reservoirs on the top, and those could either leak or get air bubbles and then require bleeding, which is a pain in the butt. Kickstand, also, it's in the back, not the center, which makes deploying it kind of a pain in the butt. There is no gears for the pedal system. Most people that buy this bike are just gonna use the twist throttle. Have the pedals as kind of a, hey, don't arrest me, don't tow my bike. But if you do plan on pedaling this bike, it's single speed. There's no gears. There is a derailleur, which is sick. And the pedaling felt good, but not great. It's cadence based, and there's about a half a second delay between engaging and de-engaging. It's not the most fluid experience where you feel like a superhero with every push or pedal, you're driving yourself forward. It's more of, I started pedaling. Oh, okay, it's pushing me forward. I stopped pedaling. Give it a second. Okay, it's slowing down now. So I personally won't be using the pedals at all. It's just a place for me to rest my feet. Along that lines of regard, there is an option to get pegs on this instead of pedals if you just want to rest your feet on pegs, although that makes the bike look way less e-bike regulatory legal. As for the pros, the head and tail light are very bright. The tail light's a real brake light to where it has 2-stage dimming. It's on when the headlights are on, then you squeeze either brake and it gets brighter, which is really nice. The looks of the bike, suspension right out of the gate, the brakes, and that 3,000 watt peak brushless hub motor, all the components feel really good, especially for the price of $1,600. $100 cheaper with my code. The fact that this thing can hit over 40 miles an hour it is pretty crazy, and it doesn't take forever to get there either. I will say it drops off after about 30 miles an hour to where it's just creeping up, but man, that mid-range really does drive you forward. I like that the controller's mounted right under the rear fender. You could swap that out for an aftermarket joint pretty easily. The display and controls are both a win. Bright, lots of information, easy to understand, buttons feel satisfactory to click. All 3 colors look sick. These aren't decals or stickers. You cannot remove them. They're actually painted on, so you better like the graphics or else you can't remove them. Packaging and assembly process was, I'm going to list that as a pro, but I do hope that Mangosteen in the future does include a physical instruction manual, although their YouTube walkthrough was really good. The stock seat, super comfortable. The battery mechanism is fantastic in comparison to the Ice and Wheel i10, which had 2 plastic track to hold the battery in place. This has 2 large metal fins on each side that hold it in place, and then a ratchet strap, so that battery's not going anywhere. Along those lines, 60 volt, 25 amp hour is a good stock battery. I really do enjoy this bike. I like it. Looking forward to riding it more, doing more videos on it in the future. Drop in the comment section below what you think of this thing. If you are going to pick one up, use that discount code down there. Save a couple of shekels at checkout, why don't you? All right, another day, another review bike. This is a much bigger box than the last any of them that I've received for review. This is about the size of the E-Ride 3.0 box. So I'm going to bust the biscuits out of this sucker and get to assembling. Mangosteen scooter, but this is a bike. Quick note before I start having my way with the assembly process, there are plastic grab handles. The net weight, meaning the unit itself, the bike, is 51 kilograms. Convert that into pounds on screen, please. Weight of all the additional stuff in the box, 60 kilograms total. Everything appears to be packaged snug as a bug, which is good because I kind of cartwheeled this box since I am a one-man team unloading this sucker. Dirt bike knobbies in here. That's got me excited. In the large accessory box, there is a smaller box, which is going to have your charger, which actually looks pretty serious. You get some white gloves in case you don't want to get any fingerprints on your new rig. Rear shock, which obviously will need to be installed. Multi-tool, some pretty basic pedals. They'll get you up and pedaling though. Some tools, your display, and then 2 NFC keys and the mounting hardware for your handlebars. I've already removed the majority of the packaging, but I want to reiterate how well this thing was packaged. The front tire has protection on both sides. First things first, initial impressions. This is a hefty rig, a bigger unit than the last couple of e-bikes that I've had my hands on. It's heavy, it's long, and the charger is more like the RTR, something like an E-moto. Actually, this looks a lot like the stock RTR charger. Also comes with 2 extra fuses. That's very nice. What it doesn't come with is an instruction manual. It comes with a product manual, which is kind of like your safety and regulatory information and your warranty, but there's no assembly instructions. No big deal because I've had my way with so many e-bikes recently, but if this is your first one, it would be nice nice to know how to mount the handlebars or how to get the front tire on there. This is an aspect where having an instruction manual, assembly instructions would be nice. There's actual physical keys, 2 of them, up underneath the seat. So there's physical keys and then NFC tap cards. Before I ride the bike, I am gonna send this little clip to the company and confirm that this is how it's supposed to be. This shock actually has resistance. That's about as hard as I can push it down. This one goes pretty much all the way in. So I don't know if this is just like a support shock and it relies more on this one. They do look different at the bottom. And then there's also a rubber O-ring here that's just kind of floating. Is that supposed to be up here? Is it supposed to be down here? It's not on the other side. And again, this is just, I can push that all the way in with my hand. A little bit of praise where praise is due. There is blue Loctite on the pinch bolts. And look at the size of this cable connector down here. This thing is gonna rip. The hub motor's big too. I feel like this thing's gonna put down some decent power for a pedal e-bike. So I did actually forget about this multi-tool. This does have the size that you need for the front axle, but it would be nice to have separate Allen keys for everything. Unfortunately, I cannot use my bike stand that I generally use for assembly, which makes getting the rear shock in place really easy. There's this temporary spacer, it's just a metal bar. These zip ties are to hold these plastic spacers on each side of the rear shock. You do need these. They clip on like this. This bike technically has 2 rear fenders. You've got this main dirt bike looking one up top, and then this one actually goes up and down with the swing arm. I'm not gonna mount this one. I think it actually looks cooler, cleaner with just the one. Plus I'd have to undo the rear shock bolts. But we got a little bit of a problem. You're supposed to unscrew this screw and an identical one in the front to mount the front fender, but look at the gap. This is supposed to line up with that hole, and it doesn't. So I don't know how I'm gonna mount this front fender. I looked up an instructional video from the manufacturer, Mangosteen, so I'm gonna have that linked in the description below. But I really do wish there was an instruction manual because the bike wouldn't turn on. I was confused. The battery comes sitting in the tray, but not actually seated. So you need to use the keys, which are for releasing the battery, push it down, strap it up, flip this switch, hold down the power button, then enter 000 as the default code. How are you to know to do that without an instruction manual? So the bike just roared or beeped to life for the first time. Headlight and taillight are both super bright. Display also seems very bright. There is a sticker on the display, the headlight and taillight I'm about to rip off. I'm also about to take off the stickers, the M, which I'm assuming is for medium on the tire. This warning sticker telling you not to do jumps with the forks because this is not an e-moto dirt bike. It's not meant to be doing big jumps. You know, you could drop off a curb or something. Don't take this off a double to flat or anything like that. The wheelbase is comically large. I'm gonna park this next to my e-moto. I think this is longer than an E-Rod 3.0, definitely a Sur-On Lightbee. This could be shorter to where the battery fits in the frame. It just doesn't really need to be this long. It would make it more transportable, throwing it in the back of a car. Good looking bike though, I gotta say cosmetically sick on this thing. So a huge downside, these are not moto style brakes, they're bicycle orientation, meaning that the rear brake is on the right, same as the throttle, and then your front brake's over here, and you can't really swap these because you can get air bubbles in the lines. This brake pumped up after a couple of squeezes. This is gonna be my rear brake, but the front brake over here still has quite a bit of take up or slop in there. Okay, it looks like they've left now, but you could see in the reservoir, there were bubbles pumping up out of there. Now it looks like they're good to go, thank goodness. I do like that the controls light up. Decals, which I usually take off of bikes to clean up the looks, I actually really dig the decals, which is good because they're almost like painted on. This one actually is flush with the frame, not a sticker. This is painted. Same thing here and here. This is actually part of the frame, not a sticker. So it's a good thing that these look badass because you can't really remove them like a sticker. Love the red brakes. There's front and rear disc brakes. They are a different rotor design. You've got slotted over here and drilled in the back. It'd be cool if those matched. Super thick tubular frame here. Very solid feeling. Better be, it's a heavy bike. I do believe this is a battery bar, but don't quote me on that. You can check on the battery itself by pressing this button. You have to hold it down and it shows how many bars of battery you have. So by default, you don't need that NFC key to start the bike. You just hold down the power button and enter a code, which is 0000 by default. And then the key is only to remove the battery. So if you're never gonna do that for transportation, bring it up to an apartment and charge it or something, then you don't really need anything to start this bike. You can just grab it and start riding. Don't like that the kickstand's back there instead of in the center. It's just a little bit harder to reach your leg back there and kick it out. Do like that the fenders are matte black and not gloss, so that way I don't have to rattle can spray paint them or anything. They already came how I like them, matte black. As soon as you plug in the charger, the fan kicks on and a red light. It's virtually identical to a stock Electro & Co. RTR charger, rated at 5 amps. and it's 60 volt to match the battery. Well, 62 point something on the charger, but it's a 60 volt battery in there. The hub motor is a 2000 nominal, 3000 peak, so should have plenty of power. Unfortunately, it is a quarter twist throttle. For this type of bike, semi-fast, aggressive, it should be a full twist throttle and moto style brakes. The brakes are at least using DOT, or Department of Transportation fluid, not mineral oil like a bicycle or mountain bike. So these have a higher temperature threshold boiling point, so they don't really fade nearly as much. This thing took forever and a day to charge, just in time for the sun to almost be down, but it's all right, 'cause the first ride's usually just bedding in the brakes and scrubbing in the tires so they're not all slick on the sidewall. I gotta remember my brakes are swapped. Damn, this thing's kind of fast. We're doing 27 miles an hour right now, and I'm just like cruising. Fender's loosey-goosey because it's held on with one bolt right now. We're getting around this lady. Oh, it felt super weird and loose over that. Probably because his tires got that grease on them. That grease. That's gonna drive me nuts with that fender. Brakes are good, even before being properly bed in. So a weird little like stutter when you first accelerate, but mid-range and top speed seem pretty good though. Flick's super weird. I don't want to do that too much just because the tires got that grease on them till that sidewall gets broken in a little mo. So I never got a response back from the company about is it normal to have that one fork tube weaker than the other. Guess we'll find out if I have like a blown out fork or what. It's making like a nasty ticking sound. Probably just take it off. Look how much it's flopping around. I don't want to run it over or anything. I've seen a bunch of other reviewers hit about 40 on this thing. Pretty damn good for a bike with pedals. Put a little class 2 sticker on it and call her street legal. It's got those knobbies, so you can do a little bit of light trail work. Thing definitely ain't meant for any jumps. There's the warning sticker on the fork saying not to do that. Big dip right here, see what? Soaked it up pretty good, pretty good. Loose sand here, I feel the front end washing out on me. I wish I had a backpack, I would just rip that fender off and put it in the bag. Sweet little dog. Yeah, this thing scoots. That wasn't even full throttle and I got right up to 23 on the speedometer, probably about 20 IRL. All right, we're gonna cut through right here. If you'll excuse me while I unbuckle my bra. This thing kind of hauls. Taking in the dirt here. Oh yeah, it's eating like Diane Keaton, all these bumps here. Throttle feels good, brakes feel good, suspension feels good. The only thing it doesn't feel good is the handling. Like I will say, turning doesn't feel very sharp and nimble. And there is a fair amount of road noise because you're on these dirt back knobbies or whatever. This bathroom is never open. I don't even know why I'm gonna check. Oh, it is open. Park her right here and hope she's there when I come back out. Kickstand's way back there. See how it eats this curb. A little rough. Yeah, this has got so much torque, I feel like I could, oh yeah, right up to balance point. A little past balance point, it's like 12 o'clock. Yeah, this thing will wheelie, but probably from like a standstill, dead stop. Skidding out on that loose terrain. Yeah, so everything feels good except the handling. On-road carving. Maybe that'll get better when the tires get scrubbed in and have a little bit more grip on them. Back shock feels way stiffer than the front fork, so it's not a very balanced suspension feel. There is compression adjustment for the fork as well. And this is that one fork leg that actually felt stiff when I was assembling it. The other one had like no resistance in it, as I showed earlier. If you put it on a sidewall and pin it, it will spin out. This thing moves. Like put on the headlights, this guy can see me.
Yeah, this thing's kind of sick. Yeah, this thing's a torquey little devil. It'll pop it up quick on you. Long ass wheelbase. That thing is so long. That back brake is good enough to keep you from looping, which is good. You just gotta remember it's over here on this side. Oh, so I don't know if it'll do wheelies with both feet on the pedals, but it'll definitely do foot drags. It's got like a decent enough throttle tune and stock brakes to where that is possible. Now this is some rough terrain right here. Let's see how it handles it. Pretty darn good, actually. Ooh, ooh. Both brakes have brake sensors. You can remove those, I think. Don't quote me on that. That's like all the way to Valencia Point. Yeah, this thing's sick. Rough right here. Handling it pretty darn good. It's this fire road here, big dip right here. Eats it, get your spoon. Dang, this got super dug out here. Lost a little traction there. Peeling out a little bit, like it. I wonder if this is an active brake light, lights up or not. Test it right now. It is, that's sick. So even when the lights aren't turned on, oh yeah, and it's a two-way, so it'll go from dim to bright. That's sick. This is like the extent of the off-road capabilities of this bike. It's definitely not meant for any jumps. If you want to do that, get yourself an electric dirt bike, an e-moto. But stuff like this, little drop-off, some fire road, light trails by your house, should be aight. Put it on its sidewall and see if it can burn out on pavement. A little bit. Yeah, both brakes are good and didn't really need much bedding in. They were kind of just good to go right out of the gate. I do like that even though there's brake sensors, it only cuts power to the motor for a second, so you can kind of get back on the power and do a wheelie. I'm gonna remove those eventually so I can fuck around and find out with the wheelies. That's pretty much right up to 12. This is a heavy bike too. It's almost 100 pounds. Pedal assist, not great at all. There's a little bit of a delay when you start pedaling. This is just my power, then it kicks in with a surge. It's a little bit jarring, and then it keeps going after you pedal for just a second. Not as much as the Ison Wheel i10, which went for like a full-blown 2 seconds after you stop pedaling. This one, I stopped pedaling about, I'd say a half a second. It cuts hub motor power. It's cadence-based, so it depends on the cadence of your strokes. Let's see if this will wheelie with both feet on the pegs. Nah, not really. You kind of, ooh. Nah, not really. It makes like a kind of a rough, grindy feel in your butt. You feel the vibration in the frame and you hear it whenever you get off from a stop, but you don't get that when you punch it from like the mid or high end. So let's floor it here in sport mode or turbo. See, and it goes like kind of grindy, and then from there it's smooth. Stop this thing real quick. Ah, come on, get that back wheel up. Ah, I can't stop it for some reason, probably because it's so long and so heavy. God, that's annoying. If this is the battery, that's sick. We didn't burn any bars at all. And also that's a lot of dots, so it can give you a lot of information. Not as good as a percentage, but decent. I wonder if there's a way to unlock it for more power or swap the controller out to make it do like 50. And then if I could just swap the brakes and have a moto set up, this would be, oh, and a full twist throttle. Oh my God, this would be perfect. Bring her in, get rid of that squeak, get rid of that fender.
Tomorrow.
Brakes feel like they got better just bedding in, because now I can use one finger to slow it down way more. As where before I had to kind of grab it with fistful of fingers. It is 11 o'clock and it's already 93 degrees out here. It is truly miserable. It's like super humid, bugs are flying in my face, Florida shit. Look at my arm, it's just all glossy. I didn't oil up like The Rock, it's just sweat. Loose sand, just powered through that. So it's a weird safety feature, even when you're in gear, and yes, you can put it in neutral, you just have to keep hitting minus till it goes to 0. For some reason, it won't go when you first get on the bike until you squeeze one of the brakes, and I guess it resets the brake sensor. I don't know if it's supposed to do that or if it's just on my model, but zip up my pocket so my license doesn't fall out. I'm tucking down for wind right now. So as you can see, the speedometer is reading a little bit high, but it's still stupid fast for a $1,600 bike with pedals. And I don't feel bad like riding this thing on the sidewalk because again, it has pedals. I can just, you know, pedal along. Let's take her off road, boys. See what handles different terrain. We got gravel here, got some dirt right here. It's all rutted out. So it's got this weird sensation. I mean, I did a bolt check and everything's tight, but it feels kind of like loose underneath you, like it's gonna give out from underneath you. It's weird. I mentioned that yesterday on the initial ride. That's my only complaint is the handling. I don't know if it's these tires or what, just doesn't feel the most confidence inducing. See, and it's doing that thing too. I'm trying to get away from all these bees and it wouldn't go until I squeezed one of the brakes to reset the brake sensor. It's super weird. So many goddamn bugs. Let's do a hill climb test over here. It can't wheelie with both feet on the pegs. You have to do foot drags. There's balance point. That's past balance point. Hey, buddy. So rear brake's kind of a one finger lockup, and the front, I would recommend having 2, at least on my bike, to give you maximum stopping pressure. With one finger, I'm not really getting it to stop as quick as it can or should. All right, so here's our hill climb test. There's a couple different angles we can get in and out of this pit here. Unfortunately, it is really overgrown right now. My leg sleeves rolled down to not get any ticks. Ooh, free socks, nice. There's like a not so steep, like a 15-degree incline there. And then over there, that's like a 45 pretty much. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but it's steep as hell. Let's drop in. I'm trying to think of where else I can get a little hill climb action in. It's not overgrown like that. Yeah, that's a little too overgrown. We're gonna need to find another hill for the hill climb test. Wheelied off that, it was kind of sick. Yeah, this thing's sick. Quite sick.
I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time that I see you, next time I upload.